Generic greetings and welcome to Construction Plus Prison Architect Alpha 31 Episode 1. So, like most months, we got a new alpha, so we will be doing a new prison. Alpha 31 has a couple of changes, a lot of additions. Primarily though, it is based around death row and execution, which you can't really get away from it. It's a very serious and bit depressing subject, which we'll be having a little bit of a natter on as we build this prison. But basically, we're going to be building a maximum security and death row prison, and eventually we will be executing prisoners. And you know, that's just it's when you say that, it's actually. Yeah, it's quite dreary when you say it out loud that yes, we will be executing prisoners. Anyway, that's the plan for this alpha series. The previous series we did reform, so it was about getting prisoners in and then quickly getting them through all the programs and then back out into society and actually getting a good turnover of prisoners. This will be complete opposite, about prisoners coming in and pretty much never leaving. Or if they do leave, it will be in a hearse, and that's just how it might be. And you know, you could argue that that's not what a prison's for. It could be about reform. It depends on what side of the fence you sit on. I'm not going to get into that. Basically, that's what we'll be doing in this, which is, after all, a game. But it is a little bit more than that when you start getting into the topics of death row and such, which, if you watch the IV alpha video, they do tackle it quite well. Anyway, let's get on with the planning for this episode's, for this series prison. But this episode will all be about planning, no building, just planning. Obviously, then you can give feedback and such. It is a construction series. It's what it's about. So I've turned off prisoner intake because we just don't want any. We will unpause just for a second. Make sure, yeah, there's no glitches there. And now we need to build a prison. I've put a wall all the way around. We will be double walling things in some areas. So I want to have an intake on the prison down the bottom here. I'm not going to have a central area because I don't think it's going to be strictly necessary. But what I'm going to do first, I'm actually going to build the cell block for some of the prisoners. For some of the prisoners. We're not going to have a lot of prisoners in this one. They're all going to be maximum security and that sort of thing. But we're not going to have a lot of prisoners. I don't think we'll get past 40. I don't think we will at all. So let's just see what happens. So we want a cell block around here. But what I want to do is have a walkway that goes around it. So that will be like a sort of a guard area, I guess. I'm just going to start measuring it out, and I guess it would be that. That would be a guard patrol around there, and then we will have an additional wall. Okay, or this would be where the building is actually situated. Something like that, okay? So this will be a path that the guard can wander up and down. In this area here, there is a reason why it is separate. Something like that, I reckon. But I'm not exactly sure on the exact sizes. This will be maximum security. This will be death row. They have to be split up. They have to be separate. Okay, let's get on with actually putting in some sort of prisoners or some cells in here. So we don't want them to be too big, but we're going to have them as a 3x2 as you generally do. So I'm going to do this sort of design of, well, very simple sort of 3 lines down, 2 across design. That works out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cells there, and there's a 7th like that. I think that will do us for that. I think that size is about right. So we need fairly open access to these cells. And in fact, you know what? Do I want to do that? I want to do something a bit different with these cells. So maybe if we have, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to pathways first and actually change that to pathway, because then it's easier to understand, obviously. There we go, and then we'll change all these ones. Oh, that's actually, that's a walkway. That's a walkway, there we go. Then I want another walkway on the inside, like that. Somewhere where we can patrol on the inside of this thing. Like I said, it's not about capacity of this prison at all. So if I'm wasting space, as you may be thinking, I disagree. I think I'm making it secure. So let's have cells that go along here. So if we have, for example, a cell there, like that. Cells along here. What I'll do is I'll run that down and then just split it up like so. We will need to change the size. No, I won't. Okay, that's fine. That is exactly what I wanted, something like that. That's perfect. Right, okay. So we will just increase the cells, our amount of cells rather. And there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 10 prisoners that would go there. Fantastic. We will go to our pathways, and then we'll run a pathway right down the center. And then we will copy this design, which is a 12 by 7. So let's get on with that. It is a 12 by 7. Then we'll have a gap of 1, 2, 3, and then another 12 by 7. There you go. So 10, 20, 30, 40 prisoners. We could go for 50. Too many. That's just too many, and that's in the wrong place to start off with. Also, I think that's a little bit too close for my liking. So what we'll do, we'll split it up, and we'll have... I think we might have to shift some things here. Do I want a double pathway running around the outside of this thing? I think a double pathway running along it. Yeah, double pathway will be better. Let's just get rid of most of that and have a double pathway. That's a triple one. That's even more. That's more than double. Let's try that again. So, put our cells in. We're still going to go with 5. So, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. And then we'll run it down there. I'm not going to put the doors in because you understand where they're going to be. They're going to be like there. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll do one model plan. There we go. So we know that that's the idea of the thing. And then we can copy it from there. So go back to our pathways, cut a bit of that off, and then expand that across like that. Then we want a double going up there, which obviously will have little sorts of walkways going inside. Just because it was too close, it would be, yeah, it definitely would be too close. So we're going to go back to our walls, and that will be a same size. There we go. And we need a gap of 1, 2, 3, 4 before we do the next one. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And then finally the next one, which is 7 by 12. Yes, it is. Right. That is our cell block, and if we go back to our pathways, we can then have a double walkway right at the back, which is actually just about what I originally envisaged when I wanted to do this sort of size thing. When I actually put these pathways around, walking around the outside. That seems to work. At least as a plan, that is one. So that's good. Right. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to put in some showers. We'll put in showers at either side of this place. We'll put them in... Where do you want to put them? I mean, well, I'm going to put them in here. Like that. Okay. Something like that. And this will be a door with a sort of metal detector in the center there. This area will be, I think we'll have an entrance for our showers, and we'll put entrances like that. And then we'll have showers all the way around. That is actually bigger than is required. I don't particularly care because I'd rather have it like too big than too small and watch them boot off. Also, that's not really in the center, but it is in line with that there, which most prisoners will go around that way or that way. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so we could actually save a couple of space. We could save a space, like one block like that. That'll give us a little bit more room. Okay, so that is that is one of our cell blocks. So this one here now, this cell block on the left is going to be harder to make because this will be our it's going to be our death row, and you do have to split these things up. It's very important you split them up. I'm going to have a path walking around the thing. And then our facility will go in, well, probably along there, down there. And you know what? I'm leaving that one for now. I don't really want to get into the death row stuff before we get the infrastructure of the main prison up and running. Because obviously this has to function just as everything else does. So we'll have the guard walking up and down there. What we'll do, we'll probably have another wall. We'll actually probably continue that wall going up and around, and we'll probably do the same thing. We'll have a wall that definitely goes like that. Something like that anyway, right? And we'll have a guard walking around. Don't know about this. I don't know about that one there. I definitely want that sectioned off, but we'll have to see how that goes. This whole area, or an area around here, all of this has to be death row. It can't be anything else. We can't have it. We can't have death row prisoners. They don't come out the cells. They don't leave the cells. They have to go through things separately. So, we've got that put in. What do we need? Well, I think we will put in the entrance to the prison, because currently we ain't got one. Actually, what I'll do first, I'll put in a block at the back, which is going to be objects. So it's going to be 5 by 5. That'll be our power, and then we'll have a water pump like that. Okay, so there is a simple water pump and power area, and then we will put in offices. We need to definitely put in the office here. So we'll go all the way along like this. And we do need 5. No, we need 4 officers because of how we're going to do this. We need 5 officers. Then we also need a staff room, which will go... I guess we can put it in the back here, like that. So if we have the entrance like that for each of these officers, could then put... See, I always like one of them. I always like one of them to be a little bit larger, like that. And then have the entrance going there, and that'll be the accountant, and that's the warden. There always seems to be like a... In all the films, there always seems to be like a little... not an atrium, but like a little entrance way where you have to go through the secretary to get to the warden. I like that idea. So there's our... We'll do that. And this will be our staff room. And what else do we need around this area? We'll check. We've got staff room, yes. We've got... We don't really have a security area. Is it right to put it around here? I guess it is. I guess we could put it in there. Let's just go back to planning. We'll go to walls. We'll move that entrance down, and then we'll have a... Could do that. Just saving a lot of space by doing that. And that could be our security area. Something like that. I mean, we could even make it a little bit further, a little bit bigger. Entrance there. Yeah, why not? Little sort of weird entranceway there. Don't know what that's all about. It's weird. There you go. Entrance there, then you can have door there, door the other side. Yeah, we'll put them objects in. That seems to function. Looks alright. Yeah, we'll do that. Right, okay. Doors all on here. And then security station, which will be, I don't know, entrance there. Okay, right. We also need a kennel and an armory, which we will get to in a bit. Right, so people will come in around this area here, and we do need some sort of searching area. Now, there has been the reception introduced, so what happens is people will come in, and there'll be search and such. So there is a room for that now, which is quite good. So instead of just bringing them in and let them going wherever, we have a reception, which is fantastic. So we will have, I think... I'm just splitting this area off because I want that as storage, okay? Which is why I'm doing that. We need an area for deliveries. I'm really running out of room here. Okay. I'll have to think quite hard about this one. If we have deliveries, say... There. Okay, there's deliveries. Actually, how big is a road gate? I think it's 7 or something. It's a weird size. Road. Goes to the end of there. Okay. Okay. That's deliveries. Okay, so that's where prisoners and other things will turn up. Then we'll have an entrance that goes down in here into a room here. Okay. Now this will be our security. Not a security room, but this will be our search room where everybody gets searched. They'll go down there and then up into here into the main area for the prison. That seems to... Yeah, that works out. I think that works. Like the idea of that. We do need a garbage as well, so I'll make that garbage. Yeah. Yeah. Garbage, deliveries. Okay, in fact, what I'll do, I'll even designate it so I don't forget about the thing. So we'll go to our garbage, which we'll put there. And then we're not going to road gate that off. We don't need to do that. And then our deliveries, which will go there. Okay, that's fine. Job done. Right. So, prisoners come in from deliveries into the searching area, and then they'll come out here. Now, we don't yet have a staff. We have a staff room, but we don't have a canteen or a kitchen. So let's get on with that. This can be a kitchen. It's going to be a long one. And then we'll have a canteen bolted onto the side, or do we? Where do we have the canteen? I don't know where we're going to have the canteen. I guess on this side would probably work out around here. See, I want to leave this area for visitation. I want to have a visitation area. Let's just work this out a little bit better than I have. If that is visitation. Okay, that'll work out, won't it? If we have visitation like that. Something like that. Don't need a lot of visitation, but we do need enough so the prisoners don't kick off at every fight, every opportunity, which they're going to do anyway because they are high-risk prisoners, you understand. That could be visitation. That could be our chapel, because you'd probably want a chapel in this place. Let's just run the path that goes up and down like that, you see. Oh, that's pathways, rather. There we go. Which actually lines up very well to that. Fantastic. And then we'll go for walls like so. And that's the main entrance to this area. Right. So. It's very cramped so far, but that's sort of what I was going for. Very sort of dark and dingy and oppressive. And we've got a lot of things. What haven't we got? We haven't got a classroom, but we will. Do we need a classroom? I don't think we're going to have a classroom, actually, now that I think about it. I don't think we're going to bother with it. I really don't think we're going to bother. I'm just thinking we could probably do. We could probably. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't like the way that's laid out. I'd rather have the pathway come up and round like this. And we'll have a building that goes along here, which can have visitation in and chapel. So if we have a chapel, we could have a fairly large chapel. Spirituality needs are quite high, I guess, although it can be quite high. Like that. And we'll have an entrance. Do you want an entrance either side? I don't know. There's no reason why we can't have it as a separate building, you see. Something like that. And then visitation tacked on the side. I don't know if this is. Am I overcomplicating this? I think I might be. See, I don't really know where to put that. Don't really know where to put it. We need to put it near the entrance because I don't want. I don't want the preacher or whatever to be the padre, whomever is coming to take the generic. Faith appointment. I don't want them to be wandering around a maximum security prison to find the chapel and then get lost and then get stabbed. I don't really want that, as you might imagine. So, how we're going to do it? What if we cut that room up a little bit? Have that as the staff room. And then make the warden's office a little bit bigger because he's the warden. They are the warden. They can do what they want. Or not. You get sacked if you mess it up too much. We have that going along there. Storage there. Blah, blah, blah. Wander around. Cook zone. Otherwise known as the kitchen. Kitchen. Yeah? Kitchen. Okay. And then canteen. Far too big. Rather have it too big than too small. Yeah, that sort of works. Yeah, I can get away with that. Right, okay. We need an... We need a pathway going from this area, which is maximum security. Sorry, that's death row. From here to there, and it needs to be sort of not uninterrupted, but we can't really have it, you know, all together and stuff. I don't know what we're going to do with that one. This area here is going to be our new visitation, which we'll put in 3x2s to show you that they have actually got visitor tables in here. And we could, if we want to, if we do it a little bit bigger. Don't need a lot of visitor tables. That should do us quite nicely. Got a gap of 2 there because I want a metal detector in. Even though we don't need one, I'm going to put one in nonetheless, just because you know, I like the additional security. This could be a chapel on this side, right? That is starting to work out a little bit better. Yeah, okay, I can get away with that. I can get away with that. Right, so we will then have a canteen here. I will furnish that later. It's... do we do it now? I'll do it now. I do need a pathway, though. Let me go to our pathways, and we'll have a double pathway that goes like that. And how are we going to have that? Yeah, that will be a double pathway like that. But we want a sort of security area like that. So, gate, yeah? Even metal detector on that one. Even though we've just searched them in there, still gonna have gates. It's still gonna have that, just as a bit of additional security. Right. That'll go along there. We need some sort of recreational area. That'll be it. There you go. Very small, couple of televisions, that sort of thing. We will have a yard around these areas. What else do we need? Actually, no, we need a holding cell. That could be our holding cell, that thing there. That would then make sense, because then we can search them in this area, bring them through here, and then they're still in a secure location. Yeah, okay, I like that a lot better. We'll go back to walls, we'll pull the walls in, and I'm going to do it like that, because I like the idea of that joining up to there. That's the wrong thing. There we go. And this will be a common room, okay, and we can have an entrance there or whatever. And then this will be our canteen. So let's put the canteen in. Only one entrance. I keep using the wrong planning thing. There's our entrance there. Obviously metal detector and gates and such. We'll have phone booths all the way on the back wall. And then this is the kitchen. So we'll have an entrance like that. And then we need a 5. 5 on there. 5 on there. So that'll be serving tables, that'll be serving tables, and then we want some tables and chairs, which will go something like that, that, and that. Okay, and we're going to have fairly large spacing on this one. You know what? I think that's about right. That's about the size I wanted it, and it seems to work out. Excellent, there you go. Is that enough? 8. That should be enough. Only just, I think. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 40 prisoners. We're close. We're close. Okay, we should be alright. We should be only just alright. So, we need to finish off walling this section. Where do we need to go? We could have... What else are we missing anyway? Let's have a quick look at our rooms. Cells, yes. Holding cells, yes. We haven't got solitary, but I'm going to put it... I don't know yet. Canteen and kitchen are in. Showers are in. Yard, we haven't yet got. I'll probably put the yard. In fact, I will put the yard around this area here. There we go. Storage, yes, it's around here. Deliveries, yes. Workshop, we're not having one. Security, we haven't really got one yet, but I will put it around this area here. We've got infirmary and morgue, no. We haven't. Common room and laundry, no. Oh, God, there's loads of stuff I haven't done. Right, cleaning cupboard, no. Kennel, no. Armory, no. Staff room, yes. Library, oh, God, yeah, the library, we haven't done that either. Forestry, no. Classroom, we're not. Do we want a library? Yeah, maybe. Classroom... We'll see. No. Actually, we're not going to put a classroom in at all. Exports, no. Chapel, yes. Parole, we haven't got that, but we will be putting that in shortly. And reception. Yes, which we have. Right. In fact, we could change this holding cell to our parole. Because I don't think we really need a holding cell. I'm going to make that a holding cell when we first start to get the grant done, but then we're going to get rid of it and make it our parole, because we just don't need holding cells. Don't need it. As far as I can tell, don't need it. Right, okay, so back to planning. Walls. Bring the wall down here and then along there. That's where that pathway will stop. We then need a... Oh, do I want to run that further down? This area here, all of this will be maximum security only, so we'll get on with that in a moment. Don't know if that pathway is required to go down there. It's looking for tunnels basically, which is why I'm doing it. But we don't need to go all the way around. That will do. So down here we will have. There's a couple of things I need, or rather require. Yeah, a couple of things that I would want. I want some sort of... What we're missing out? We're missing laundry. Let's get the laundry put in. So laundry can go... If you just run the pathway along a bit. This is completely different from anything that I've ever done before. Just the design of it and the layout. And I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. So there's a pathway that goes along like that. We'll then have... Do you want a massive building here? I don't know. We could just have a huge building and put all of the stuff in there that we need to have. So library. Parole, no, it's over there. Armory's going to be in this zone. Oh, no, it's not. It's going to be in this zone. Actually, technically, it's going to be in both because I'm going to have it something like that. That's the armory. There's our armory, right? There's security, which will have, obviously, an entrance to both areas. Something like that. And obviously, we need an entrance to that one. So, security, armory. Security, armory. Probably shrink the armory and make the security a little bit bigger. We haven't got any protective custody, which is a weird one. It's going to be something we can shove on the side here. Protective custody area with separate cells in it. Ah, we need solitary as well. Solitary can be in here, I guess. A bit close to the army for my liking, but not overly worried. You're going to increase the size of security. You would have a massive security place in this sort of size prison. You would have a massive security area. And that is our holding cell. Sorry, that is our solitary confinement. Yep, that there. You can only access it through security. Yep, okay. And then we need protective custody. Because we're probably going to have a couple of snitches and things like that we're going to have to sort out, which would be... I guess we could have it to the end here. But it means you're going past the solitary to get to protective custody. It's not that well designed, that, I must confess. I've designed better things. Alright, let's have them a little bit bigger. For reasons... yeah, for reasons, I guess. We could have them a bit bigger for reasons. Do we need them a bit bigger? Not really. 3x3 we'll go for, just a little bit bigger. 3x3. And actually means we can fit 3 in. Ah, that's a good decision, I guess. Right. And then we need a kennel, which can be that at the bottom. This will be a kennel at the bottom. So that'll actually be outdoors, this bit here. So we'll have to make sure that I remember to put this outdoors, which almost certainly I won't, and we'll have to demolish that. So there's our massive sort of security block. That sort of works out. The pathway goes right up to there, and then that's the only way to get into the maximum security area. You can't get it. You can't get into this area anywhere, any other way. You can't at all. Right. So we're missing out on the laundry and the library. So we'll go and we'll delete this wall because we don't. Oh, do we want to delete that wall? We don't really need that there. So we'll have, if we say, for example, a laundry. Not gonna have a cleaning cupboard. We'll have one of them as a library and the other one as generic miscellaneous building. Actually, I like the idea of the laundry down the bottom there like that, because for some reason it's always easier to build a laundry like that. Just is on that direction. If it's longer rather than taller, it's easier because you can't rotate washing machines, and the tables are a bit weird. Not the tables, the ironing boards are easy to put in. So that's our laundry. That might be cleaning cupboard. We'll see what happens with that one, and that'll be we can have a spare room of some kind, and that will be our library. Okay, there we go. Obviously, we'll have a path that walks along down there. I think that works out. Right, so that is the main cell. That's the main prison. That's a really weird, like, sort of scrunched up design that I'm sure I'm going to forget how it works by the time we come to build this next episode, because there's going to be at least a couple of days delay while I wait for feedback and such. So, how are we going to do the rest? Well, I think... Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of that. I don't know why we need to patrol all the way down to the bottom there. We actually don't. We don't need to patrol down to the bottom there. So I could expand these buildings along to the left if I want. I'll get to that later because it's going to be a massive mess on. We will have access to this area from there. Okay, because we do need access to it. So we'll have an entrance there. That. Okay, obviously these are all going to be doors, doored off, doors, doors everywhere. Like that, yeah? You understand. Right. Okay, the high risk bit. The bit that I've been putting off. So, we need an area for prisoners to stay in Supermax. Where they're going to be. Well, I reckon we can put them along here. Or along there, maybe. See, no, it has to be around here, because that's the way I've planned it, I guess. Yeah, it has to be along here. So, here we go. We will have double walkways. Like that. All the way around. Then we'll have walls. And then we'll have our cells, which are going to be bigger than normal. Did I size? 4x4? They're all 4x4 there. Yep. 4x4. Then we'll have... Oh, do I want a bit bigger or not? That's 6 maximum security. No, that's 6 death row. The difference. 6 death row. There we are. Gap in the middle just so we can go in between and search. That's fine. They will be brought their food because I don't even think they ever leave this thing. I don't think they ever leave that area. Just in case they do, because I've never done this before, we will have a shower. We'll put in a shower. Pretty sure they never leave their cells, but I'm going to put in a shower there. If it turns out that you definitely don't have one, you definitely don't have they definitely don't leave. This will become like a probably like a security room or something like that, right? Okay. Then we need a parole area because they do go up for parole. Or rather, it's not really parole, it's more trying to find out whether they're... what's it called? Clemency, yeah. It's trying to find out whether they actually are going to be moved from death row onto maximum security. So we do need that room there. Otherwise, it is a case of pathway down like that. And then the actual room. The room that has been in since pretty much day one, but we've never really used. That's going to be the execution room right there. There. That'll be it there. So they'll walk all the way down there. This area here currently serves no purpose. And I don't know what I can do with that one, so I'm going to let you comment on that one. Right, let's have a quick rundown of what we've got. So, rooms, cells, yes, holding cells, yes. Or rather, we will do it just to, get the grant, but then we'll get rid of it. Solitary, yeah, we've got that in. Canteen and kitchens there. Showers in, yeah, in several places. Storage over the bottom. Deliveries and garbage are in. Workshop, we're not having one. Security, yes, we've got a big one there. Offices are down the bottom. I've already figured out what we haven't got. We haven't got infirmary and we haven't got a morgue. That's what these buildings can be. So I just won't have a library. There we go. Job done. Common room, yes. Laundry, yes. Visitation, yep. Cleaning cupboard, no. We're not having one. Kennel, yes, we have one down the bottom. Armory, yes, we have one. It's there. Hang on. Yes, it's there. Staff room, yes, it is in that location. No, that location there. Library, no. Forestry, no. Classroom, no. Exports, no. Chapel, yes. Parole, couple of. Reception, one of. And finally execution, which goes there. The maximum security around here. The death row is around here. Death row, as far as I'm aware, never leave their cells. They certainly never go to the canteen, ever. They always stay there. All their food will be brought to them by the guards. I don't think that they use showers. I don't think they do. If they do, then it's there. If not, I'll put that as a security area. This is definitely going to be a trial and error thing because this is a brand new concept. I've never tried it before. That's part of why I don't really play this. I play it now and again, sort of single player, but most of the time what you're seeing is generally the first time I've tried the new alpha because I like that exploration mechanic. I like that sort of that sort of new crisp feeling of we're trying this sort of together. I generally don't know what's going to happen, and it gives it a little bit of an edge, I think. So yeah. We will be able to change these rooms depending on what happens with the death row, but basically that is our prison. This is the most different, strangest and most depressing prison I've ever made, I think. So yeah, there you go. That is the proposed idea, or the proposed plan for this month's alpha. As always, comment in the comments. That will change what happens when we start building next episode. Thanks very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.